Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Hi. Why did you subject me to that before we started?
I apologize. I knew the
What a
words Russia hoax would make your head explode like mine. Because
what a yutz. Yeah,
I
I
was,
mean, literally every word he said could be applied to the Trump family. The projection is amazing.
yeah, right? I mean, and honestly, I know we've been through this a million times. So what about, the proper use of the word treason? But I'm sorry, starting from Russia through Ukraine, through the, documents, the classified documents, right up to this, hopefully being charged for the insurrection. It's all treason. It is all
Well,
defrauding the United States of America, whatever. I mean, I don't know, obviously there's specific legal terms, but oh my God, what is your first reaction yesterday when you heard about the target load?
well, I want to once again help your audience understand that there is a new meta narrative that I think needs to be pushed out there. And it's as simple as this. Donald Trump is now the single most corrupt president in American history. He blows Richard Nixon. He makes Richard Nixon seem like a choir boy.
Yeah.
But this is just we should say it, Trump crime family. And you can actually point to these things. But
Well,
this is the most corrupt criminal enterprise that has ever sat inside the United States
Malcolm,
government. I mean,
speaking of Nixon, we talked to Joe Weinbanks yesterday. There are tapes
mhm.
of everything on Trump. It's not just one tape like with Nixon, right?
Yeah, and the hits keep coming. People are turning on him left and right. And this is where we're having the societal disconnect because Republicans, they don't care. One third of the American electorate, they don't care how many crimes he commits. They don't care what evidence is out there. They are, as I heard it said just this morning on MSNBC, America now has a national level cult, and it's
Yep.
a cult of personality that really should be confronted at every turn. But if you don't use the same terminology, they use the information warfare techniques that they use every day, like Biden crime family. Remember Clinton crime family? You guys, they can't make this stuff stick except in their own head. But if you actually go out and speak the truth, which is to identify Donald Trump is now the most criminal president in the history of the United States. And he's a fascist and he wants to change the United States, in his own words, into a fascist autocracy in which he will use the government and truly weaponize it against everyone, that it becomes his political enemy this time. And it doesn't matter that every person that has testified against him in all of these grand juries are his staffers and are all Republicans,
Yep.
including his daughter and his son in law, and quite possibly his sons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this headline this morning: Kevin McCarthy secretly thinks Trump is a buffoon and a danger, according to a former White House aide. I mean, you know that to be true. And I don't know what to say about him. Kevin McCarthy yesterday, just defending this. I mean,
Mm.
they just. I guess they're going to go down entirely with the ship, aren't they?
Yeah, Liz Cheney put this brilliantly last year when she said, Donald Trump can be explained. All right, his criminality can be explained, but history will look poorly on the Republicans. I don't want history to look poorly on the Republicans. I want to start seeing their indictments come. I want to start seeing how these people literally and legally facilitated crimes, and they must be held to account.
Yep.
Now, how will the Trump base respond when we find out that maybe Kevin McCarthy and others who are all out there shouting day and night may have taken immunity deals to testify to the grand jury against Donald Trump? Republican Trump voters won't care, but they will turn on Kevin McCarthy in a heartbeat. He won't be Speaker of the House the next day when this stuff comes out.
Yeah.
But this is what must be prosecuted. We must let the special counsel do his job. Just this morning, what was his name? Mark Levine, a right wing talker, was out there saying how no one knows where Jack Smith lives. They don't know where his staff lives. And maybe people should go out and give him the same treatment, that Ken Starr got, which
Hmm.
is staking out his house. This could potentially end in bloodshed. I wrote a whole book about it, right? They want to kill Americans. And we're getting to the point where the fever of this, where the Trump people don't care about the law at all
Yeah.
when it applies to them,
Yeah.
could start turning into violence.
Yeah, check this out. Alex Jones believes there's a 95% chance that Democrats will distract from Trump's next expected indictment with a meteorite, a truck bomb, or another false flag disaster. He made the remarks, of course, to Roger Stone.
Of course.
Aren't those some
Which
things
means
out of
they're
the
planning for a
Roadrunner?
meeting.
We can get a meteorite?
That's a safe with a rope on it, exploding bird
Yes,
seed.
well, Jewish space lasers can shoot them down.
Oh.
Is that true? Thank you.
George Soros is in on this.
You are a weapons expert, so thank you for that. I mean, it's just he says more and more ridiculous things. We were saying last night, he said that, Sean Hannity town hall saying, "Oh, we did build the wall and Mexico paid for it," and blah blah blah. He's said the ridiculous thing again about he'd solve the Ukraine war in one day, in 24 hours. I mean, it's just,
You know,
and people are still going to buy this bull.
no one will step up and just go, "Good God, man, you're a liar." And you can't just go, "Mr. Trump, masticate the truth, and you, are using words that will not necessarily give us the full story." When the media does that, and I'm starting to see some of them, certainly Morning Joe now on MSNBC, starting to talk like I spoke 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
Which is, you have to shout out that this is a lie. It is a quantifiable untruth, and that you need to be called a liar. And, New York Times still won't use the L word. And this is what lets him get away with what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. It is enabled by the media not saying this is terrorism. His continued threats and threats of violence against whether it's prosecutors or whoever, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is stochastic terrorism. There's always, I've written several books about Al Qaeda. I had a New York Times bestseller about ISIS. When the spiritual and political and military leader of a terrorist group utters his vague, phrases, he's actually giving orders. Donald Trump gave orders. We know from the January 6th committee, he intended to march to the Capitol, to lead a march to the Capitol. He understood that there were people out there with weapons when he made his famous phrase about turning off the magnetometers at his rally and saying, "Well, they aren't for me. They're not here for me to harm me." Yeah. This guy knows exactly the power of the fear of his base that struck in the heart of every Republican. And that's why every Republican toes the line. First, because they believe in what he says and they want to say it out loud. Second, because they know their own constituency can turn on them in acts of terrorism and threaten to kill them and their family, or actually carry it out if they get angry enough. And this is the dangerous precipice that we're sitting on right now. Donald Trump is a threat to the national security of the United States. I'm glad everyone in media is now saying what I said in summer of 2016.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why it's critical that not just the fake electors starting in Michigan, but members of Congress, anyone who helped in this plot to overthrow the United States government needs to be charged. Go ahead.
I really think Jack Smith has got his finger on that pulse.
Yeah.
I see now how the punches are being thrown by having the state of Michigan come out the day that Trump has announced that he's under indictment, with indicting 16 people in a criminal fraud with 6 counts, I believe 6 or 8 counts against each person themselves.
Yeah.
Many people have turned state's evidence. Look at the 8 electors in Georgia who are cooperating with Fani Willis. And Nevada's not going to charge anybody, but that doesn't mean that the special counsel won't go through every one of those people as a site and charge them all federally with fraud, attempt to defraud, and the same charges as Donald Trump. And I believe that, when Giuliani and Eastman and Sidney Powell and, Michael Flynn start getting start getting their indictments, then we'll understand that this is an avalanche that's going to consume them all.
I mean, and the fact that Trump is openly pleading with his congressional co-conspirators to save him. Matt Gaetz said he, in the coming days, will introduce a bill to defund Jack Smith's investigation. I mean, not going to happen, but, it shows you the desperation that they're in right now.
Yeah, well, isn't one of the potential charges that Rolling Stone reported yesterday was witness tampering?
Yeah.
By promising every person I believe there are over 750 convictions from January 6th thus far. They said that the prosecutions could go to 2,000. Donald Trump is trying to get all of them off. He's trying to appeal to his base. But you know what? I'm sorry. This is a prairie fire that might not be able to be controlled once he really whips it out. And somebody may take a shot at Jack Smith. There may be, a Secret Service agent injured. This is where we're really going to have to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, because people are saying, I feel like justice is coming. And if Judge Cannon delays this trial, Jack Smith can, slot the January 6th trial in, like one way or another. And like you say, Fonnie Willis is coming. I feel like now it's becoming, as you say, an avalanche. And
I want you to adopt a new phrase on this show that you need to understand and ask Glenn about this when you talk to him. In the military, when we're having a war, and as a matter of fact, I'm writing a new Substack about the Ukrainian counteroffensive. The phrase you need to understand is called battle rhythm. And what we're starting to see with Jack Smith is his battle rhythm.
Yeah. This
guy does not throw one punch. He throws a flurry of punches. He guarantees other punches start landing. Trump doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know which way to look. He doesn't know which way to respond, and he can't even get enough lawyers to protect him down in Florida alone. The battle rhythm of this attack on Trump is going to literally collapse his campaign because everybody around him at some point is going to be criminally liable.
And by the way, he has taken down the entire Republican Party with him. They can no longer, be the party of law and order, the party of national security, the party of the military. They're holding up military appointments. They have just. I don't even know what to say anymore. They're so despicable.
They're holding up more than military appointments. This whole thing about transfers and about abortion services for members of the armed forces who are on federal facilities, who want to go to federal facilities in other states in order to maintain their constitutionally, up to this point, for the most part, guaranteed rights. They're talking about making sure that women do not serve in the military. That's what this is about. They have this bizarre image in this head of a pre-Korean War all-white armed forces. They are literally trying to destroy the recruitment for the armed forces of the United States to make it look like those ridiculous Russian army videos and Chinese army videos that they praise all the time and that they use in their Memorial Day and Veteran Day advertising to have this homogenous force that they think is unconquerable. The U.S. armed forces are the most diverse combat force on this planet, and we are lethal, as long as you're not wearing flip-flops, right? So all I'm saying is they appear to have a religious agenda, this machoist agenda going on in their heads, and by getting rid of women, abortion rights, any support for women in healthcare, and by using it as a mask for, holding up all the promotions of generals, well, they don't care. They have an agenda, and they're going to carry it out, and they don't care what it damages.
Listen, if they want to keep using the word woke, and woke means not pushing babies and children into the Rio Grande to drown and God knows what else, then okay, we're woke on our side. We'll take it.
And we need to fully West Wing that word, right?
Yeah.
We need to, what do they say? We need to embrace that word. We need to embrace liberal. If liberal means that I'm not a despicable cur, well, I'm liberal. If woke means that I believe in the most diverse combat force in the world that is second to none, then I'm woke.
Yeah.
All right, and you gotta take it away from them.
Yeah.
All of you.
And by the way,
gotta take
he's
it away
there
from them.
once again last night on Hannity going, President Z, look at him, smart, brilliant, rules 1.4 billion people with an iron fist, everything's perfect. Just, you're like, oh my God, his love of authoritarians is just so over the top, right?
What's amazing is he's gone past Andrew Jackson, right? A literal genocidaire of the American Native Indians in order to embrace foreign dictators.
You know how, because you obviously put your money where your mouth is in Ukraine. Real quick, we're going long, but he said he would solve the Ukraine thing. He said, I tell Zelensky no more. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, no more defending your country from an unprovoked terrorist attack? I mean, and people applauded. They're like, oh, yay. I mean, it just, we are at a terrifying point in our history, Malcolm. We really are.
The man is an idiot. He is a stupid man's idea of a smart man, and they're both stupid. And we've got to stop playing with this because I'm sorry, you were saying it. People like us are saying it. But the news media needs to have this pushed into their mouths. Okay? Anytime anyone ever talks about this, use the phrases, right? Use the terms that frames it in the way we know America knows that man's a moron. But it should be the first words out of your mouth, not the second words, because they play liberals and woke people and decent people by using, letting us use soft words while they insult us and call us pedophiles, rapists, and murderers.
Yes. Say it with Shouty McShout face.
We got a moron here.
Okay. Love you, Malcolm Nance. We will see you next week. There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry if I have an extra glass of wine, I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.